so-called Negro community has shocked the white man by resisting all efforts to divide us. I think that you and I should continue to shock him by staying and working together in unity, despite religious, political, economic, or educational or social differences.
My people are terrified. We've been terrorized to the point that we're mentally and spiritually paralyzed. We suffered through centuries of dehumanization and degradation. It took the form of slavery and segregation in this land of the free, where oppression's government sanctioned. We're subjected to systemic skin color discrimination, from black codes to Jim Crow to black criminalization. It's been 400 years, it's time for our liberation. We're a nation within a nation, victims of colonization. Where's our revolution and Independence Day celebration? Cause what's the 4th of July to the slave on the plantation? And slavery didn't end, they just changed its implementation. Just check the 13th Amendment, then you'll see why so many black males end up as guilty defendants. The system isn't broken, it's working as it's intended. So I'm not here to fix it, I'm here to end it.
And then again, if we tell you that Negroes are being hung on the tree or being shot down illegally, unjustly, and those Negroes should do something to protect themselves, you say you're advocating violence.
I won't rest till this nightmare we're living in ends, and we see justice for our murdered young innocent men. If black lives really matter, black people need the proof. Cause we are the only ones responsible for our improvement. How can we leave it to someone else to do what's best for us, especially when there's someone else has historically been oppressing us? We can't use a system built to enslave us to free us, and we really sick if we think that they white Jesus can heal us. Our children need us to defend them, teach them and guide them, show them love and bring out the greatness that is deep inside them. Are we gonna build a nation or stay on the plantation? Keep begging for our freedom or fight for our liberation?
When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, he didn't say get nonviolent. He said praise the Lord, but pass the ammunition.
We must be willing to die together or we'll definitely die separately. We desperately need unity if liberation is our destiny. If we don't know our history, then we doomed to repeat it. White supremacy is the enemy, but together we can defeat it. They stole us from the motherland, sold us into slavery, forced us to work for them. They got the nerve to call us lazy. In this caste system, we're outcasts, still treated as second class. But I can feel it in the air, revolutions in the forecast. We came for greatness, but they don't want us to know. So they hid our history to keep us under control. All it takes is to take a stand. The enemy's not invincible, but we must come together as one nation indivisible.
20 million black people don't even know their own language. Why? Because he took it away from them. 20 million black people who don't even know the history of their ancestors. Why? Because he took it away from them. And if you're trying to tell them how thoroughly and completely they've been robbed, he says you're teaching hate. That's something to think about. Today you are coming out of college. You're coming out of the leading university. You're trying to go in a good direction, but you don't know which direction to go in.
It's been long overdue for me to have this conversation on my channel, family. And as you've seen in the thumbnail, the title of it is Maybe You Should Train As Hard As You Hate. And what you're looking at on your screen here is a name tag with hater down there where the name should be. Okay? So I came up with an acronym for the term hater because you know me, I got a clown and give y'all some game at the same time. So, hater. Hoe-ass, trifling, emasculated rodent. That's what that stands for. Hoe-ass, trifling, emasculated rodent. That's what we're going to have to start branding these people because, see, understand something. The basic definition of a hater, that's somebody that gave up on their accomplishments and their dreams because they didn't have the skill to get it accomplished. So what they do, they turn around and blame other people externally for their failure. Understand something. If you fail at something that you set out to accomplish and nobody actively sabotaged you, they're not responsible for your failure. You are. Understand something. I'm going to break this down for the male and the female perspective today. Understand something. For the men, okay? The one thing that determines how successful we will be at any endeavor that we seek to undertake is accountability. A lot of brothers in these spaces will start talking about how women don't take accountability, but see what happens when a man don't take accountability. You become a hating, pocket watching ass punk bitch. And understand something. That term that I just stated, a hating ass, pocket watching punk bitch, you don't build anything. You will never be successful at anything. See, let me give y'all a couple of primary examples. And these brothers don't need me to speak for them, but these are three primary examples of a lot of the hate, especially when it comes to just the content creation and things that are getting done in the black community. You see a lot of people hating on Brother Tariq Nasheed, Brother Jason Black, Professor Black Truth. I got to give a big salute to them brothers for their over decades long work online and offline getting things done. You have people sitting here worrying about how many people in their chat room or if those brothers decide to launch any type of project in the best interest of the community, whether it's their documentary work or various other projects like Brother Tariq. He's getting the Hidden History Museum going so that our people will have a place for us to tell our history from our point of view without any hijacking. Okay, his documentary work speaks for itself. Brother Jason Black's documentary work speaks for itself. On top of the countless things that these brothers have done offline, bailing people out of jail, okay, making sure people have attorneys, getting people employment. I could go on and on. Those brothers' credentials are platinum players. So for anybody sitting there hating on them or Professor Black Truth with his vast amount of wisdom and knowledge and expertise in breaking down the mainstream media so that we can be informed on what's lies and what's the truth and be encouraged to do our own research. When you start hating on brothers like that, or anybody for example, understand something. Those brothers and any sister that this applies to earn their respect. They earn that from the people. They earn that from the grassroots. No amount of hating and pocket watching is going to change that. See, what a smart person does, when you see somebody that's successful, you don't start hating on them. What you start doing is learning from them, trying to pick up on what they did to get to that point where they are. Okay? And then better yet, I'm going to tell you what you do. For example, if you really want to get gained up on how somebody's doing something, offer to pay that person to teach you. See, this is what grown men do. This is what grown adults do when it comes to handling business. If it's something you're trying to get accomplished. For example, I mentioned Brother Jason Black. If you're trying to get any financial advice on what type of careers to go into, advice about the trucking industry, a myriad of different things, you can go and pay for that advice. The brother will set up a one-on-one consultation with you. All you have to do is go over to his channel or his Patreon is right there. That's one example. So what I'm saying is when you apply this to anybody in the real world, before you start hating, get your pennies together and say, you know what? I want to learn this knowledge that I see this individual has. Let me go pay for it. Let me go and see if I can pay to get some instruction and take whatever I can from it and advance along the path that I'm going along. Because see, the alternative sitting around whining at people. You got people over here, family, that will be on 10-hour streams talking shit about people. And see, here's the funniest thing about this, right? The funniest thing about this is a lot of these content creators, you'll have some clown with like 100 subs and they'll think, okay, Tariq Rashid or XYZ content creator got this for me, man. They got this for me. They don't even know your name. They wouldn't even recognize you if somebody put a picture of your face up and said, hey, tell me who that is. The delusion is astonishing. And it's pathetic and sad for a man to dwell in that kind of delusion. That's usually more of a feminine trait. For the sisters that it applies to. But see, when you sit up there and you harbor that type of animosity towards somebody just because they're successful, then you have to start coming up with all kinds of lies. And this is the funniest thing. You have a lot of these clowns with like 100 subscribers, followers, or whatever the case may be. They'll always have this fantasy in their head where like, if I just got a chance to talk to that person, boy, I'll show them, boy. And then now today, as all of you see, we have forums where you can actually go and talk to somebody on Instagram Live or Twitter Space, or if they have a call-in show, you can call in and talk to them. And usually when these people go and attempt to do that, if they can muster up the strength to do it, they get themselves embarrassed. And then after they get themselves embarrassed because they find out that they're nowhere near as smart as they thought they were, then they go back to their little platforms and whine some more about it. So as a man, this is the way I was raised. My father and the men in my family taught me that if you come across a problem, you don't whine about it. You figure out a way to solve the problem. Okay? That's the beginning of building as a man. That's the beginning of leadership as a man, is problem solving ability. And you got too many clowns in our community today that are just completely devoid of any type of logic regarding problem solving. They wouldn't even know where to start to build anything. For example, going back to Brother Tariq Nasheed, you got a lot of people talking shit about, oh, where's the museum, nigga? Y'all already know in these spaces, that's a running joke with it, especially with these tethers. But see, when you're dealing with people that aren't in the used to running a business, that haven't accomplished anything, that hadn't dealt with any type of commercial property, they don't understand that that's a process. You don't just snap your fingers and up and overnight you get something. And then if you're trying to see, this is another thing that failures don't understand. People that have never had a taste of success at anything in their life, this is what they don't understand. When you're doing business, you don't jump on the first deal. You jump on the best deal. Let me say that again. When you are handling business, you don't jump on the first deal. You jump on the best deal. Sometimes you get up and walk away from the table if certain things are presented to you and it's not going to be conducive or to your advantage. One of the first rules of doing business is to make sure you come out on the winning end. And see, when this comes to the people, if you're a brother like Brother Tariq or anybody else that has gotten the community to invest in something that you want to do for the community, if you love the community, you want the best for the community. If the community trusts you enough with their funds to do something, you want the best. You're not just going to get any old thing. So now, when you look at clowns, okay, that have never had any type of success in their life, when you look at these clowns, one of the things that they don't understand is the timing that it takes to pull off certain things. They don't understand anything about legal documents. They don't understand anything about actually having to deal with the system of white supremacy, especially if you're a black person trying to do something constructive for black people, you're going to hit roadblocks. The first thing that come out these clowns' mouths is talking about somebody scamming with no proof. And see, let's go further into this, right? When you have people sitting around pocket watching who's doing what and criticizing them, oh, well, why you gonna get a museum? Or we need grocery stores. We need this or that. Okay, let me tell y'all something, man. Smart individuals that actually have a skill set know to focus on what they're good at in their lane. Whoever you are, whatever you do, you focus on what you're good at in your lane. Okay, that's what you do. That's when you're going to be the most effective. And if you're not skilled at something and you want to do something, you know what you do? you go and hire advisors that do have experience in that field. See, you got a lot of these people that'll sit around complaining and whining about why somebody isn't doing this or why somebody isn't doing that, when what they really want is to be popular. They want to be famous. They don't give a damn about the community. All they worrying about is who's gonna look at me, who's gonna see me, can I get my name out there? Many of you that have worked with me online or offline, y'all know I only care about one thing. I don't care about popularity. I don't care about being seen. If I wanted to, I could turn this down channel on or this camera on, man, and do all kinds of flossing and bragging about stuff. But see, I'm a black man, and since my white supremacy, I know a pen stroke can take everything I have. So I'm not delusional about that. I care more about being effective than popular. I don't give a damn about popular or being seen. I don't care about getting credit for something. My role is to get things done. That's what I view. And I only rock with people that care about getting things done. If you some clown that's worrying about being seen or getting credit for this and getting credit for that, sometimes look, if you are exceptionally good at anything, I want y'all to listen to what I'm about to say. If you're exceptionally good at anything, the credit will come automatically. You don't have to worry about it. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Take this scenario. Let's just say that there's a particular problem in your community, okay, where you are. And you come up with an idea to solve that problem. And you implement it. You get all the resources together. You do all the research that you need to do to see what it's going to take to implement that solution. And your solution works in one area, okay, people are going to take notice of that, and they're going to seek you out and say, hey, brother or sister, what you did over here, could you help us with that? Could you please come and lend your expertise over here? Okay, you go and do that. You implement that solution. It works there. Now you've got two areas that know of your ability to solve problems, right? Okay, so you keep doing this over and over a number of years. Now you're getting credit for that because people are like, okay, this brother or sister right here, if you have this particular problem, go to them. They will instruct you on what to do to solve that problem. See, people care about results, family. So for any of you clowns that's hating on anybody, not just to read Brother Jason or Professor Black Truth, not damn sure don't give a fuck if you hate on me. Because see, look, you're none as listening to me. Let me explain something to you about productive men, productive people. We don't care what you think as long as we get our mission accomplished. The only way you will become relevant to us is if you actually had the power to interfere with anything that we were doing. And let's just say you do amass that kind of power where you can't interfere with something. What you're going to find out is you're not good at interfering, because interfering for the purposes of completely disrupting something, that takes work. And a lot of you punk motherfuckers are afraid of real work. Oh yeah, I'm gonna say it again. A lot of you are afraid of real work. A lot of you are afraid to roll your sleeves up and actually have to put nose to grindstone and stay focused on a task until you get that task completed. So let that marinate. Go ahead and let that sink in and see. Let me go ahead and switch this over to the female perspective. Ladies, one of the things that I want you to understand, and this is why it's good for you to be around competent black men, okay, that can game you up on what I'm about to say next. We all know that the social order and rules are different between males and females. So if you're trying to accomplish a task and you're good at what you do, and people start backbiting and back talking about you, let me tell you where you operate in power as a female. For those of you that like to try to imitate what men do, imitate this and see if it doesn't get you success. It's gonna be hard to do because y'all are more social creatures than men, and what is said by someone affects you more than what they do, or just as much as what somebody does. So here's what you do. While they're talking, ladies, train yourself to say, yeah, bitch, I hear you, but I got work to do, and I'm gonna beat you with success. You put all your focus and your energy on being successful. In fact, cultivate this attitude, sisters. Cultivate the attitude when you hear some heifer talking crazy about you, especially if you know there's no validity to what's being said. Start looking at them as entertainment. All you have to do is laugh. if you do anything at all, because they really not even worth any kind of response. I don't care whether you're a content creator, whether you're in corporate America, whether you got a regular blue collar class job. Sisters, stop giving motherfuckers your precious energy. Energy is precious. That is the first building block of thought. Start looking at your thoughts and your time as a non-renewable resource. Make sure you focus. Make sure you concentrate on getting your task accomplished. If they cannot cost you blood or money, they're irrelevant. And see, I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. Once you start becoming successful at any goal you set, you become addicted to it, to the point that it's like you're meticulously focused on getting things accomplished. And you don't even, it's like you repel people that are failures and haters that sit up and talk about people. They won't come anywhere near success. You know why? Because see, a group of successful people in conversation, we can talk about accomplishments. A hater can't do that because they haven't accomplished anything. So then the conversation has to shift to hating on you. Even if they don't do it in person, they're going to do it away from you. So sisters, that's what I want y'all to cultivate on y'all end of things. Start training yourselves not to be so moved emotionally by what somebody says about you. When you start letting people control your emotions with what they say, they basically own you. See, what you do is you put somebody with a big mouth to work in your favor. There's many ways to do that. Oh, there's many ways to do that psychologically. You can set them up and give them something just to see if they're going to run with it. Or better yet, you can make them clowns keep talking about whatever you got going on and they're free promotion for you. Put their punk ass to work. Make sure that if you engage them, it's done in a strategic manner. And see, as far as on my end of things, being that I'm a man and I'm used to being around other productive and constructive men that actually build things in the community, men that can actually get people together online and organize for a purpose offline, I don't even waste time with people like that. See, that's another thing we really have to pull ourselves to the side and sit ourselves down there and ask ourselves this one question. Am I using my time in an effective manner every day? Every day that I've got something to accomplish, am I using my time in the best and most constructive manner to get what I'm trying to do accomplished? Okay? Fact of business, you all have seen that. Just look at my channel alone. I usually try to put up, educational documentary content because, I don't really have a lot of time to do personal content. That's going to be changing soon. I'm going to try to start giving you all more of my personal content because y'all know how that was. When I started giving personal content out, boy, YouTube didn't like that. And they're not going to like it again. But hey, look, we got work to do. We got work to do. So what I want to encourage a lot of you to understand and remember is today, with where we are in black society, with all these things going on, they're attacking our children. They're pushing all kinds of perverted, degenerate agendas towards our children. Okay, they're attacking our women. They're attacking all of us. Okay, we don't have time to be caught up in high school bullshit and drama. And see, this leads me to something else while we're talking about this. There's never going to be a situation where you just get along with any and everybody. But see, this is what I want our people to start mastering, okay? Start understanding that the groups that are in opposition to us, white supremacy and its buffer class groups, they don't always get along, but they agree on one thing. Oppress these niggas. They agree on that, okay? So here's what you do if you are at odds with a brother or sister that hasn't cost you blood or money. You go ahead and process what you disagree on and say, okay, we disagree on okay, you like chicken, I like hamburgers. Cool, we know not to even bring that up in conversation. What do we agree on? The things that we agree on, that's what we focus on, and go ahead and put foot to pavement and start mobilizing and moving to get things accomplished for the collective. See, when you're doing this grassroots work, you trying to engage in anything constructive, it's not about the individual, it's about the collective, okay? And see, understand this. See, this is something I want all of you to experience because in my social circles, I'm quite used to this. When you start dealing and moving with people that have that mindset that I just described, that's a good feeling. It motivates you to do even more for your people, okay? That's what y'all gonna have to focus on. Find like minds. Don't worry about the people that aren't on the same page with you, okay? You let them be where they are, because chances are when you look up 5 years down the line, they're gonna be in the same spot they were, okay? You leave them there. Everybody can't go, okay? So now as far as again, I want to reiterate this point. When we're in these different spaces or what have you, and you disagree with somebody, cool. You already know what y'all disagree on. You've discussed that. I always try to lead with this. Like, okay, brother, sister, we disagree on that point. Let's find our common ground and move forward, especially if both of you love the black community, okay? It's good to have differing opinions. Differing opinions mean alternative solutions in case one person fails at something. Start looking at things that way, okay? And as far as the people that are haters, that they just stuck on sitting here counting people's pockets, making up lies about people and things like that, I'm going to tell y'all something I want you to do with individuals like that. When you come across an individual like that, a man or a woman, that just sit back, count people's pockets, make up lies, start looking at what they get accomplished. Even if they claim they're doing work, even if they have already built something and got it operating, this is what you do. You look at how successful they are at it, okay? You got people out here that don't even have the sense enough to advertise what they have going on. I can name you several platforms where you can take our advertisements on to get your product out there. If you start a business or you got an endeavor going on and nobody knows about it, they're not going to know where to support you, even if it's a good idea. You see, people want things for free all the time. You got to get used to paying for what you want, because see, that's another mindset that we got to do away with in our society. You circulate money in the community just like they did during Black Wall Street days, so you build an economy amongst your people that operates in the best interest of your people. I will never sit back and pocket watch and hate on anybody. Even if I have an ideological disagreement with them, I want you to get your money. I want you to get paid, and hopefully you'll have sense enough to circulate that money with your people, so that when it come times for us to represent each other and we see these things going on nationwide and we need black lawyers, we got an economy to pull from and get those attorneys that we need that work for us. Same thing with any type of politician. Big salute to my brother Greg Marcel Dixon. A lot of people were sitting here in our community hating on that brother when he's the only black grassroots politician that I've seen in years that spoke as fervently and vocally and put foot to pavement and wasn't afraid to take our agenda before these people unapologetically. And you got people worrying about this brother's lifestyle. They brought it up more than he ever did. That brother will always have my utmost respect as long as he stays on code. And see, as I get ready to wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen, the DC rally that's coming up, that is scheduled in October, that our brother Tariq Nasheed is about to pull off, it's going to be a place for you to show up if you actually about connecting with people that's getting the work done. It's still in like the works as far as setting everything up, because that is a process. As I just described earlier, when you're trying to pull something off the right way, you make sure that you cover all your bases before you execute on the idea. But if those of you are able to make it to that DC rally, what you're going to see is the people that are on the grassroots that are really about doing the work, young and old alike, that's where they're going to be. Okay? That's where they're going to be. And going forward, as far as our agenda and getting reparations, we're not backing down on that. We're not backing down on making sure that people respect our culture. For example, I rock with a lot of brothers and sisters that are Caribbean and continental Africans, but we rock together on code. It does us no good if you look like me, but you're not on code with me, okay? So as I get ready to close this out, I want you to always keep a hater in his proper place. They're nothing but entertainment. That's it. They're failures, and they blame other people for what they can't accomplish, and that's all they'll ever be. That said, brothers and sisters, make sure that you remember that your time is the most precious non-renewable resource that you will ever have, and invest and use it wisely. I'll see you all in future content. Black first.
Over the last year or so, the US police have come under intense criticism, especially over the ongoing racist treatment of black people. The problem, however, is not recent and did not begin with the murder of George Floyd, nor did it begin with any of the other high-profile police killings. Police brutalizing black people did not start in the 1950s, 60s, or even before that. To understand the core of racist policing, we have to go way back in history to a time before there was even any such country as the United States. When the first Europeans landed in the US and the first Dutch slave traders arrived in Jamestown, Virginia in 1619, the brutalization of black people began. The promise of the so-called New World was not forged by fortune and adventure, but was written in the blood, sweat and tears of African slaves. Black people who built America as we know it were treated as property and needed to be controlled. With this in mind, the first slave patrols were soon formed, and it would be these slave patrols which would eventually morph into modern police forces as we know them. Slave patrols carried badges very similar to police badges used today, and the job of these patrols was to catch runaway slaves and return them to captivity. Slave patrols were also known for catching free black people and sending them back to slavery. The system would gradually change and modify over time, but the essential origin of US policing remains the same, with deadly modern consequences. Black people remain violently treated by the state by officers in uniforms from slave patrols to the modern day, despite some arguing that huge progress has been made. And nowadays US police, which disproportionately brutalizes black people, also paves the way for the private prison system, which itself is another form of slavery. There is little doubt that the racist legacy of slave patrols has left a dark shadow over modern policing to the point it may be beyond reform. Policing in the United States needs a serious radical overhaul, but for that to happen, its history rooted in slave patrols and the modern role played as part of a deeply corrupt anti-black criminal justice system must be accounted for.
Celebrate the foundational Black American culture of freedom fighting and resistance with the first annual Emasculated 5K run. This cultural experience will honor our FBA ancestors and icons while harnessing energy from our past to power our future. There will be security at this event to ensure everyone has a safe and enjoyable experience. Emasculated Run is a cultural event for family and friends. Strollers and wheelchairs are welcome. The in-person event will include a free 1-mile fun walk and will be held on December 17th in Tampa, Florida. Unable to make the live event, you can also participate virtually anywhere from December 17th to December 30th. All registered participants will receive the official Emasculated Run finisher medal, t-shirt, and more with the ability to upload their race time to the official site. Live event participants will receive the time race scores, professional finisher photo, video, and your name will be announced as you're welcomed across the finish line. Enjoy the post-race after party and refuel with a traditional FBA breakfast. You can also help us settle fun family debates like sugar or salt and grits. Prepare with family workouts and runs and post on social media using the hashtag #RetSayRun. For registered info and sponsorship opportunities, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Click the link in the bio. Hope to see you all there.